Well, hello, everyone. It's Shawnee's Coach S.J. Johnson coming to you again today to bring you or to talk about more student transportation. So, today I want to discuss the types of student transportation and pricing. A lot of people think that student transportation is, again, as I said in many other videos, that it's school bus that you're going from stop to stop to stop to pick up students and then transport them to school. Well, there's so much more to it. You have McKinney-Vento transportation, which I would talk about that. You have other specialized transportation. You have special needs transportation. You have transportation for charter schools, your private paid parents, after school programs. You can do rescues. I'll explain what that means. Field trips, charter trips. It's so many different areas that you can go into when doing student transportation. Now, let's talk about some of these. Um, First, I want to talk about you don't have to go from door to door or stop to stop to stop when doing student transportation for vans or sedans, etc., for non-yellow bus transportation. You can do what we call satellite locations. At a satellite location, all of the parents, if they're private pay parents, etc., all of the parents will meet at one location. It could be a Walmart parking lot, Kroger's parking lot, any parking lot or location that is safe for the students to be brought to, dropped off, and picked up. So the parents will bring those students to those satellite locations, drop them off. They all get in the vehicles, the vans, sedans, whatever is being utilized. You transport them to school. Now, when you get them from school, you transport them back to the same satellite location. Now, you can have different stops along the way, just as yellow school bus have different stops, and these are your satellite locations. But the idea is not having to make as many stops. So, if you let's say you're using a 15 passenger van, which you can get about 13 students, you want to fill that van up one location straight to school. Now, I've utilized 15 passenger vans, and I may have one satellite location where I picked up maybe 10 out of the 13 students, and I may have to stop along the way to pick up 2 or 3 more students, then go to school. Same thing in the afternoon. When I pick them up, I drop them off at their respective satellite locations. Now, many the parents want to have door-to-door service, meaning they want you to pick them up from home and drop them off back home. It is time consuming, especially if you have a particular route that you have set and this parent wants you to drop their child home. Now you have to deviate from that route to go to that child's home, then get back on your route, transport your students to the satellite location. Or maybe you have parents, 4 or 5 families where they want you to pick them up from their homes. Imagine picking them up individually during traffic. They live in different locations and then trying to get them to school on time. Remember, school buses not picking, most of them are not picking up from home. They're picking up from bus stops. So even though you're not a yellow bus provider, you're a van, sedan, etc., does not mean that you have to do door-to-door service. Set your satellite locations. Have your parents drop those students off, pick them up at the same location. You have saved on gas and time. You can get more students that way. If you're using a 15 passenger, you fill up one 15 passenger van and you're going straight to school. You may now be able to add more vehicles to your fleet and add more satellite locations. Now, what type of services? Let's talk about your McKinney-Vento. With McKinney-Vento, that is a federal program. Okay, that federal program is through the government, where the government says if a child or family is homeless, displaced, they have they're on an IEP through the school, or they are deemed that they cannot ride traditional school bus for maybe health reasons, behavior issues, McKinney-Vento will cover that. You will pick that student up from their home, okay? Because that's federal money regulated through federal funds through the school district. The school assigns those students to you, to your company. Now, most of that is handled through government contracting. You do have school districts and schools where you can go in as a provider and just simply provide the services directly through the school without going through a bidding process. But what you have to also be concerned with is the fact that they can give you 10, 15 students. You have to pick those students up from their home. So now you have to schedule your route accordingly. It's not like your private pay where they are taking them to a satellite location. This is regulated, which means that you are required to meet certain regulations that the school has set forth, for you to pick up those students from their homes, transport them to their prospective school. And it could be a hotel, it could be foster care, picking them up from their foster home, a group home, wherever they are currently residing. It's not their permanent address. The government says, okay, we will allow them to still go to their same school. They are in a certain situation that, they will come out of. If they qualify, they have the social worker, they go through all the steps, and they are been deemed, yes, they qualify for the McKinney-Vento program. You pick them up from wherever they're living or they're residing, transport them to their home school, pick them up, transport them back to wherever they're residing. That is not the same as picking up a group of private paid children from a satellite location. So remember that. Now, you can also do special needs that don't require wheelchair. That could be your autistic students, because I have them as well. These are the students that they either may require a monitor, or they don't require a monitor. They can get into the vehicle. They understand where they're going. They may be nonverbal, they may be verbal, whatever the case may be, they don't require much supervision. But they cannot ride your general traditional school bus. So their parents may say, well, can you pick them up? We want like for them to use private service. That's what you are. You are private transportation services for a special needs student. You have them special needs that you can utilize your wheelchair van. They're not through McKinney-Vento. However, um, they cannot ride the school buses. Their parents want them in private transportation. That's where you come in. Now, you have also what we call rescue. You can be a provider that provides rescue for the schools. What is rescue? Let's say school buses, they have not picked up the students, a bus broke down, um, got into an accident, they can't go to the next stop. Well, the school district needs a rescue company to go and rescue those students that have been left and get them to school. Rescue company, rescue transportation for students. You also have field trips. You don't necessarily have to transport students in the morning and afternoon to and from school. You can be the transportation provider for the schools for field trips only. It could be a charter school, it could be a micro school, daycare, etc. All you're doing is providing field trip student transportation. Then you have your charter trips. That could be athletic events, after school events. It could be a field trip where it is you taking them during the school, but it's after hours. You have to pick them up and transport them either home or back to the school for the parents to pick them up. So as you can see, there are so many different avenues that you can take when providing student transportation. Now, how do you rate or set your cost for these? It all depends on several things. Your miles, what's the distance from that satellite location to the school that you're transporting to? I have one satellite location that is about 60 miles, 30 miles one way each day for each student. $700 per month, $800 per month. It just depends on you have to understand pricing, which I'll talk about pricing, the actual formula for it that I use for pricing at a later date. But you have to understand your overhead, your costs, fuel, all of that is tied into how you set your rates, your insurance. What does your insurance cost? What is the maintenance, your tires, etc. You have to calculate all of that into your rates. So if you're telling someone where we're only charging $400 a month, remember you have all of those costs. In addition to, if you're a sole proprietor, you have your own household needs. I tell everyone you still have to live outside of your business. You not only have business expense, you have living expenses. So you have to add in paying yourself. Are you making enough per student to pay all of your expenses, which includes yourself, because you also have to take care of your home? You may have to charge a fee of $600 or $700 per month per child in order for you to meet those expenses. I do know companies, they charge per child $1,200 per month. But that is based upon, again, your race. Your rates are your rates. Your expenses are your expenses, etc. No one can take that from you. People want, if you provide a quality service, safe service, you charging your rates, you're charging your worth. But don't lower your rates to meet your customers' needs, because then you can run the risk of having to close your doors because you cannot keep up with the expenses because you're not charging enough. So you're going to charge based upon your distance from your satellite location to home. Now, this is for private pay. You can do sibling discounts or not. It can be each child is its own rate. But if you want to get your clients that have siblings, you want to offer some type of concession or discounts for additional siblings. You don't want to take it too low, but you want to offer enough of a concession that makes them say, okay, that's reasonable. I want both of my children in the same transportation. I'll pay it. You're going to look at if you have drivers, how many hours are they working? So you have to set your rates enough to be able to pay those drivers. You can charge per day. You can do $25 per day, $35, $40, $50 per day. Or you can charge based upon the number of days they go to school within that month. Every month is not 20, 25 days. You have to look at your months for the holidays, which is Thanksgiving, winter breaks, spring breaks, etc. Those could be months where it's only 14 days in a month. Then you have some months where it's 22 days in a month. You can charge based upon the number of days that they go to school within that month. But it means that your months are going to fluctuate. It's not going to be the same amount each month. It's not going to be the same amount for your parents. It's not going to be the same amount that you're making for your business. What is easiest for you? To have a flat rate per month that your parents pay each month, regardless of the number of days, or you calculating the number of days that they go to school times 25, 35, $50 per day times the number of students that you may have. Um, door to the door to door, to me, that's an additional cost, especially if I have to deviate from my route to drop your child home as a special privilege and then get back on my route. That's an additional cost. That's door to door service. Um, you you can do one way, meaning they'll go in the AM or the PM. I do not recommend you doing anything below 3 days a week. Why is that? It's taking up a seat. You may have a child or a family that needs that transportation Monday through Friday, but you've given it to a child who goes Monday and Thursday. You're not only losing a seat, you're losing money. So, my recommendation would be 3 days or more. If you want to do AM 3 days, AM 3 PM 3 days, that's strictly up to you. But my recommendation is don't lose a seat losing money. Don't lose money losing a seat because you trying to get so many clients that you're not understanding you're losing now. You're not gaining. You may be gaining a client, but you're losing money. Because you can have one or two clients versus this one, have a full van versus a seat that's not filled 3 days out of the week. Um, that's basically what I wanted to go over. Parts of the student transportation, the setting your rates, understanding the types of student transportation that you can actually do. The McKinney-Vento, when it deals with government contracting or you're setting your rates, that's a different ball game. You can get as much as, yeah, and this is based upon experience, etc., and the school district how much they're willing to pay. Because you can go as high as $45 one way per child, $90 round trip, one child. That's per day. $55. So you'd get $110 round trip per child one day. So imagine if you are at 30, 40 children per day at $110 round trip, you do the math. That's why I'm doing it. So the McKinney-Vento pricing is different than your private pay pricing. It can mimic, but understand who's paying. The parents or parents are paying, they don't want to pay a certain amount. The school district is paying, they have a set amount based upon the federal funding. No, they don't want you to be way up here because they're not going to pay you high dollar. They're trying to save money. But they will pay you because they know that this is a needed service. So where you may be getting 25 or $30 a day for one child private pay, you may be getting $45 one way per child or $90 round trip per day. Yeah, I do both. So I make money on both ends. But if I had the choice, I'm going to go here with my student transportation for my government contracting, McKinney-Vento, those services, because I know that they're guaranteed funds. Now, with McKinney-Vento, those students can find permanent housing and they can be removed from the program. Yes, you didn't have to fill a seat, but there may be another student that's coming right behind them that needs the service. So it's kind of how the program works. Versus a family moves on private pay, you may not you may not have that opportunity to get another student that fast because families move. It's in the middle of the school. Families are not looking. There's nobody else looking for service right now. They won't be looking for service until the new semester starts. So you kind of have an empty seat. Those are the pros and the cons. I hope that was helpful for those of you who are looking to get into student transportation. Again, you can always reach me at sjohnson@extracaretransportation.com, contact@coachsj.com. My website is www.extracaretransportation.com for my transportation services if you want to view my website. If you're looking for coaching, mentorship, to help you get started in the industry, government contracting, coachsj.com is the website for that. Send me an email, a message, and I'll respond to you if you want to ask a question on any of my lives or any of my recordings. Just ask the question. I do monitor them, and I'll respond back to you. So the next time I come on, I'm going to talk about actually the formula for setting your rates for student transportation, how to get in it without the whole fleet of vehicles, how to market yourself. So that's going to be my next conversation with you all. So I hope you all will tune in to my channel as we talk all things student transportation. You all enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.